The original Dead Space was one of my very favorite video games ever when it was new, but I never played through the 2023 remake until just now, and no spoilers, but it is not what I was picturing. I remember the original surprisingly well, considering I haven't touched it in over 15 years, and I thought this was a shot-for-shot remake with just totally overhauled graphics, kind of like the Demon's Souls remake. But it's a lot more like the GameCube remake of the original Resident Evil. Most of the story beats and even a lot of the rooms are the same, but there are also several entirely new mechanics, areas, and even missions. The 08 game is very linear, with a tram ride separating out each chapter, but here you have access to the older areas at any time, and a bunch of new side missions will have you doubling back to those areas constantly. I love that Isaac Clarke is no longer a voiceless, faceless puppet. He's now a fully fleshed out character with lots of dialogue that's appropriate for someone with precious engineering experience. That was a nice touch. And obviously the graphics are way more impressive. All those awesome textures and lighting effects really highlight what the best part about this game is anyway, which is just how downright scary it is with all the gross-ass body horror and gruesome shit jumping out at you from everywhere. There's some new quality of life improvements like updated controls and a map, and most importantly, the combat has been totally overhauled. This is by far the biggest issue with the original game. The gunplay is okay for the time, but the extra options like stasis and telekinesis just didn't really work very well until Dead Space 2. Now these mechanics are better than ever, and one of the most fun aspects of these encounters is just seeing how much you can get through without firing a shot and just firing enemy limbs back at them. There are a couple little issues I have, like that new map I mentioned can be kind of a pain to navigate when you're dealing with multiple floors. The brand new weapon upgrade parts you pick up all over the place are largely focused on the alternate fire systems for each gun, and since the standard fire is so good, I never felt compelled to try them, even on hard. So it was easy for me to just ignore that entire aspect of the game that they'd clearly done a lot of work on. I just wish that element had been more compelling. The only other reason this won't rank quite as high as something like The Last of Us or The Evil Within or some of the newer Resident Evil remakes is that the gameplay itself just lacks variety in some ways. Like here, the combat is pretty much just shoot everything in the room immediately, but other survival horror games have like stealth kills or slower paced sections where you're supposed to flank an enemy or something. And yeah, the exploration is less linear, but it's still pretty simple, whereas say in a Resident Evil game, you're constantly juggling all these different key items that you're using to unlock doors or solve different puzzles, so long story short, it's missing a couple of my favorite aspects of the survival horror genre. Then again, if you had all that stuff in here, it wouldn't really feel like Dead Space, would it? When it's all said and done, they did a great job of adding a lot to the experience without really compromising the DNA of the original. I'm trying to beat 1,000 video games, and I rank every game I beat just based on how much I enjoyed it personally, and this ended up at number 4 out of the 27 games I've beaten so far this year, and 34 out of 580 all time. So again, not quite as high as some of my favorite survival horror games, but still one of the best games ever made. I'm right in the middle of moving right now, so I don't have a ton of time to play, but I am almost done playing back through the original Resident Evil, so I'll review that in the next few days.